So this past weekend, I got to go to the very first year of ESK8CON in Las Vegas, and I just kind of want to tell you guys what my experience was like. If you're going in a year from now and you're trying to figure out what this event is like, at least this is what it was like the first year. So first off, I found out about the event online on social media, like we find out about everything, and I started looking into it. This was a few months ago, and the website wasn't great. There was a lot of missing information, and I think that was just honestly missing information. I don't think they had everything dialed in yet, so I'll give them a pass, but I think next year I'm hoping that the website is a little bit more organized to find the information. It took a long time to find where the event was happening, like exactly like the address. And I think, like I said, like that was just them not knowing yet. So I don't know, but some of the details were really loose up until like what felt like the final days. So that made me go into this whole trip with a little trepidation of like, what's this event gonna be like? You know, I really want to know, is this event gonna be worth it? And you know, you're kind of taking a risk, especially on a first year event. So I drove, there were people that flew there. I met one guy that drove, you know, like 30 hours. So there were a lot of people driving long distances to come to this event. It was really anticipated to be a fun event. So the whole event took place over a weekend. There was some stuff on Friday night. I didn't get into Vegas until late on Friday though. And those seemed very loosely associated with the convention. There were also some other things going on in the city called like PEV Takeover. So I think it was partly that, and there was like 5 different group rides, something like that on Friday night I heard about. So the main event was held at a go-kart track right next to the airport, and with like the city skyline in the background, like the strip. So that was a really cool like venue, I thought, visually, just to have that like in the background was pretty rad. I got to the venue about 9 a.m. and that's when it was supposedly starting. The track was going to open for riding at 10 a.m., but the event was supposed to be open at 9. When I got there, it was still kind of like popping up tables and throwing out, you know, banners and stuff, which that's just how it goes. So no big deal. Not many people were there anyways. I don't know who goes right at 9 a.m. I don't know why I did, but I was there right then, just excited to be there. So after you get checked in, they give you a swag bag.
Swag. Stuff we all get.
Stuff we all get. And inside, they had a bunch of different things. I lost almost all my stuff, just Vegas life. But yeah, it had some like little like trinkets and stuff with like the logo on it, like a poker chip with it on there. They gave you some hand sanitizer. I did like, and I did keep, it's just not in here anymore, but a grip tape eraser. They gave you some raffle tickets so that you could be in a raffle I'll tell you about. And they also gave you like this lanyard. So you got to wear this super cool like festival lanyard. Like that, but it's kind of a cool little keepsake, you know, for people. And it had all the brands on the back and stuff. So I mean, it's legit. Like they were trying to throw a really legitimate event, and that's pretty dope. So like going to the event, let's just cut to like once people are kind of fully open and stuff. There's about 15 or maybe 20 vendors. There's some different board manufacturers, like Hoyt was there, Super Beast was there, Voltac, I think is how you say it, was there. Flux Movement was there. Who else? Hunter Boards, Evolve was there. Man, I'm trying to think if I'm missing any. I know I'm missing a few. Shred skates or shred, I can't remember the name of it. It was like a weird like 6-wheeled skateboard. And there was quite a few. There was Pivot Socks. There was a bunch of different vendors, which was cool to like walk around, check it out. Mo was there with the Stooge race boards, and you could ride these boards. You could demo stuff. That was one of the best parts of this, was being able to demo like crazy boards. I got to demo a Cali XLR. Like that's like a $6,500 board. Like I'm never going to buy a Cali XLR. It's just not going to happen. But riding it was super amazing. Like that board, oh man, I went on a totally different tangent, but that was crazy to get to do that. It was super cool. It was a great opportunity to be able to try all these different boards. But, and it's kind of a big one, is the track. So in the photos, I saw the photos of the track that they put out, and I was like, man, this thing has like 50 U-turns in it, basically. The whole thing is very tightly compacted because it's for go-karts. And with go-karts, you don't want people going super fast because if they crash, they die. And so you make the track really tight so you know, you can't ever really get up to really, really high speeds or as much. So that made it challenging for sure. So I was like, okay, definitely bring like a double kingpin board. So I brought one. that was set up as a double kingpin. And I also brought my Flux so I could take that out at night on the group ride is what I thought. And then once I got there, I needed every little bit of grip because this track was so slick. It was crazy. It was like riding on an ice rink. I mean, that made it a real challenge. And the people that were doing really, really well on the track were mostly on urethane actually, because like rubber just wasn't gripping on this track. And I think part of it was super like kind of glossy from all the go-karts. And then also all the dust from the desert, like that blows over, it had like that thin, you know, sheen on there. And I mean, you would be going and just your front was drifting. You would just, all of a sudden you're drifting, or it'd just snap out on you. And like, it was sketchy. So it made you really, I think the speeds were typically like in like the 20s for sure. I don't think anybody, I mean, maybe somebody went over 30. I doubt it, man. I don't know how you would have done it, but maybe the guys that were winning the races, I mean, the top speed I got on there was 25 miles an hour. That's how fast I got on the track, was 25. And even that was really challenging. And that was like a split second I hit that. Most of it was in the low 20s, just because it was all about finding that perfect kind of racing line where you didn't have to turn very much. And even on a track like that makes it, it was just really, really tricky. Not to say that it wasn't fun though, it was just a challenge that I don't think really anyone anticipated. People knew about like it being a really tight track, but nobody knew it was gonna be as slick as it was. Plus it had like, you know, slant to it. So you'd go into like these like compound curves or whatever, you know, and it was challenging, really, really challenging. So it was great to be able to try all these boards like as demos, but then the place you got to demo them was really difficult to ride on a board that you knew really well. And then to be able to take like a different board you don't know at all and ride on there was really challenging. So I think of that, mixed feelings on the track. The venue itself, it was pretty good. It was all outside. There was a building, but we didn't have like really access to it, I don't think, at all. There was no vendors or anything in there. And then there was the pits where the go-karts are kept, and that's like a full-on like, you know, mechanic shop type situation in there. And so everybody kind of hung out outside, which it was Vegas. It's hot, you're in the sun. So it wasn't terrible. There was definitely shade. There was places you could like get away from the sun. But it was a long day in the sun. The venue also had one bathroom. That was like, it blew my mind. Now, I couldn't believe it. There was like one bathroom, and it was in a mechanics corner. And maybe somebody out there correct me if I'm wrong. Maybe I didn't find any other bathrooms. Maybe there was other ones somewhere else, but that was the only one I saw any signage to. So I don't know, throw it in the comment if I'm totally wrong on that one, but it seemed like there was only one bathroom, which that's kind of gnarly for an event. There was like a concession stand where you could buy like food and drinks, but it was like very basic, you know. It was like Oreos and chips and those. It was like you were at like a little league game. That's what you could get. And then they did have like they went out and bought a bunch of hot and ready pizzas. I feel like there was supposed to be food trucks and maybe they canceled or something. So the one thing I'll say about the food and drink is that they didn't try to gouge you on the price. That was super cool. Like everything was like $1. Like, so it was like, we're not like trying to like make a ton of money on the concessions, and you didn't feel like, you know, screwed over by all that. I would have liked to have seen like maybe a water station or two. I found one that was in like that mechanics area, but like it had like those little like, you know, stabby cups, like you can't set them down, you know. It's just something like a little bit better, like where you could fill up water bottles, like a little bit more accessible and stuff would have been cool. But you could find it, it wasn't the best scenario for that stuff. Luckily, I brought a metal like insulated water bottle so I could refill it, but people that didn't have something like that, it was like, I mean, it was 90 something degrees, so your bottle of water is getting real warm really quick, and you know, you want to stay hydrated in that. While riding on the track though, people were super cool. That was one thing I will say, is that like this event, I've seen a lot of people kind of criticizing different parts of it, especially the race and stuff. And I think if you were there, you're probably not that hard on it. I mean, the event was like really positive. People were really cool. Everybody was like, you know, just talking with one another, and like the community aspect of it was really, really great. I enjoyed just like meeting tons of people I've met online and just never in person. So it was really cool to be able to like catch up and talk with these people and ride with them and stuff and see their setups in person. And it was really cool to meet some of you guys that watch the channel in person. That was really rad to be able to like talk about it and stuff. It was just really cool. So we ride all day. Our legs are just worked. You're so tired because you've done like a million turns on this track. And then they did a raffle. So the raffle was at like 4:30ish. And the way they set up the raffle was just by attending, they gave you 2 tickets and then you could buy tickets for $1 each. So I bought 20 tickets. So I had 22 tickets and I dropped them in boxes. And the boxes were right in front of different items. They had like 5 different sets of wheels. They had a Fock box. They had a Hoyt puck. They had a bunch of different things, which was really cool. So I dropped in all my tickets. I won some Pivot socks. Super cool. And then I won a Hoyt skate bag for a skateboard. So the prizes were really cool. The raffle was fun. I definitely think you guys should do that again next year, and even make it bigger. Like get a board in there. I think that would be really cool. And maybe like those tickets cost $5 or something to buy a ticket for the board. But being able to like win a board, somebody's gonna be super stoked, on that. And you guys did so much for this event. I'm not knocking the prizes. They were really, really good. They were better than I thought they'd be. That was pretty cool. And then they did a whole set of prizes on the second day too. So now raffle's over. It's like 5 o'clock. The event's over. I head back to my hotel room, chill out for a little bit, try to get my legs to rest up. And then 8 o'clock, I drive out to Fremont Street in old downtown Las Vegas. And we all met at this big parking lot. And there was about, 150 of us, I'm gonna throw it out there. I don't know exactly, but a ton of people came for this group ride. I think people came to the group ride that weren't even at ESK8CON and stuff, so it was big. And they split it into a short ride, which was supposed to be about, I think like 8 miles, if I remember, 7 or 8 miles. And then the big ride, which was 17 miles. So I went on the longer ride because I had my board that had plenty of range. And we just mobbed through Vegas, like all through Fremont Street, all through down the strip. I mean, right in front of all the casinos. Everyone's like partying that night on a Saturday night. It was pandemonium, like really, really wild ride, but still like somewhat controlled-ish. In the future, I hope that like maybe like the leaders and stuff of the rides maybe are like marked or something, I think a lot of people had trouble figuring out like which direction we're going, and there was, it's just the nature of group rides too. It's just how it goes. But if it's gonna be a night ride like that with so much going on, I think like a really good indicator on the front guy would have been, really helpful. But super fun. There was one really heavy fall, good thoughts towards that guy. It was really, really heavy. Please, everybody, wear your gear, at minimum a helmet. The guy that fell had a helmet on, thankfully, and that 100% saved that guy's life that night. Found out later he broke some things, a lot of road rash, and it was rough stuff. So definitely, gear up, especially if you're out there like charging. This guy definitely went down over 30 miles an hour with, I think, just like a half helmet on. So, it's just the risks we take, I guess. But hey, shout out to Vegas ambulances. They were there in like 2 minutes. It was super good that they got there that quick, and helped him out. So then from that point, we get the 150 people out of the street and continue on the ride once we know that guy is safe and he's got an ambulance and people taking care of him. And we roll the rest of the way back and we pull off that 17-mile ride, and it was just so much fun. So that's actually where like my trip kind of ended. I needed to leave on Sunday morning and get home, so I headed out early on Sunday. So I missed the races, so I can't comment on that, but from what it looks like, from photos and videos I've seen and from comments and stuff, it seems like it was just as good as the first day, just way more focused on the race, obviously. And I think the crowd was a lot smaller on the second day because of that, because it wasn't like an open track where you could go ride. It was for the race, is what it seems like throughout the whole day. So on that day though, they did spray the whole track with corn syrup, like 15 gallons of corn syrup, and that made it a lot more sticky for traction. But even reading about that, by the time like the final races happened, it seemed like it was slick again. So I don't know. I'm hoping next year they find a way to either get some traction on that track, set it up in like a parking lot with like our own layout of a track with like hay bales and cones or whatever. Like that would honestly work fine, I think, with like a really nice parking lot. Overall, I give this event for a first year event, I give it a 10 out of 10. Straight up 10 out of 10. Mike at Inboards, you did a great job, man. This thing went off awesome, I think. It was a really, really great event for the whole PEV community, and then obviously specifically E-Skate. And and I can't wait to go to next year. If you guys have any questions or comments, leave them down below, and I'll see you guys next time.